Flashing lights in the dark baritone hum. Engine scream till the wild hearts succumb. Virtual roads where the asphalt sweat fire, chasing glory through the chaos of desire. Your TV burning in my veins tonight. Wheels spin, pixels ignite the fight. Flag to flag, every moment extreme. No TV, we're living the dream. Roaring engines, pixels bursting like flames. Digital warriors, no face, just names. Science going for the sweet finish line. Sweat-soaked battles outside space and time. Nerd TV burning in my veins tonight. Wheels spin, pixels ignite the fight. Flag to flag, every moment extreme. Nerd TV, we're living the dream. Roaring engines, pixels bursting like flames. Digital warriors, no face, just names. Tires going for the sweet finish line. Sweat-soaked battles outside space and time. Nerd TV burning in my veins tonight. Wheels spin, pixels ignite the fight. Flag to flag, every moment extreme. Nerd TV, we're living the dream. Strap me in, fuel me with untamed speed. Data in the storm, all the rush I need. Glitches on the edge, chaos in the stream. Sim racing paradise, unraveling the sea. Nerd TV burning in my veins tonight. Wheels spin, pixels ignite the fight. Flag to flag, every moment extreme. Nerd TV, we're living the dream. Flashing lights in the dark baritone hum. Engine scream till the wild hearts succumb. Virtual roads where the asphalt sweat fire, chasing glory through the chaos of desire. Your TV burning in my veins tonight. Wheels spin, pixels ignite the fight. Flag to flag, every moment extreme. Nerd TV, we're living the dream. Roaring engines, pixels bursting like flames. Digital warriors, no face, just names. Science going for the sweet finish line. Sweat-soaked battles outside space and time. Nerd TV burning in my veins tonight. Wheels spin, pixels ignite the fight. Flag to flag, every moment extreme. Nerd TV, we're living the dream. Roaring engines, pixels bursting like flames. Digital warriors, no face, just names. Tires going for the sweet finish line. Sweat-soaked battles outside space and time. Nerd TV burning in my veins tonight. Wheels spin, pixels ignite the fight. Flag to flag, every moment extreme. Nerd TV, we're living the dream. Touch me louder to the range. Fuel burns and the glow of the edge will blaze. The rubber moves roll, the fist clenched tight. Your TV lights up the endless night. Fight to fight, we live to speed. No TV feeds our endless need. Heartbeats pound and engines cry. Best broadcast under the virtual sky. Turn the wheel, feel the breakneck roll. Sim racers tearing through the thunder soul. Gear shifts crack like a lightning storm. Digital warriors breaking the norm. Turn the wheel, feel the breakneck roll. Sim racers tearing through the thunder soul.
And welcome back, everybody, to Nerd TV live from the Talladega SuperSpeedway here. This is the OTSS Select Series presented by Empower Ed live on Nerd TV. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here tonight at the Talladega SuperSpeedway, where we are in for some great action. I am Jason Rockfell alongside Jeremy Stanley up here in the booth. Dustin Logston pushing the buttons as always behind the scenes. And we have some great action coming up for you here tonight at Talladega. It's the Calm and the Chaos 186 presented by Empower Ed. And Empower Ed does have some special things showing up here in tonight's race. Here's a little bit of your track facts, obviously, for tonight. Weather, air temperature 84 degrees. Shouldn't really impact the track that much tonight. But the track temperature is 186, so a lot hotter than the air temperature. And the wind at 2 miles an hour, 0. Shouldn't really play a factor. If that wind was very high, though, definitely would play a factor here for these trucks aero-wise. Partly cloudy, but we are obviously set, getting ready to go here from the virtual Talladega SuperSpeedway. And welcome back to Nerd TV, obviously. Just mentioned this before, Jason Rockfell alongside Jeremy Stanley. Kind of swapping a little bit of roles here tonight. Usually Jeremy's the one entering the picture for us, and tonight it's me. Jeremy, I know you said you just took some Dayquil, man. Are you ready to call some action here from the virtual Talladega SuperSpeedway?
You asked me 4 hours ago. No, right now I'm okay. A little cracky in the voice, but that's why we're doing this little swap. So I appreciate it. But yeah, we're gonna do a thing. 70 laps, virtual Talladega. They call it the calm in the wild, but that's going to be true to both. There's a low point in this race. There's going to be 3 wide. But Jason, these trucks had a massive update since we last went live on Nerd TV at a Super Speedway race for a broadcast, and it might be a little more calm than the wild. Pending these guys can keep the bumpers off one another. The high line is more effective than ever, and you're going to see the classic outside Dale Jr. line most likely at some point in this race where they just troll around for half the thing. But there's also some rewards to be handed out based on the Empower Ed sponsorship for tonight's event.
Yeah, and Empower Ed is doing an absolutely amazing thing tonight. Tonight is one of the very few races where they will be handing out awards to drivers. In particular, this week's event is the Calm and the Chaos Award presented by Empower Ed. And tonight, the driver with the lowest amount of incident points will be awarded $25 at the end of the race. Now, you have to qualify. You can't start in the back and not qualify for the race. You have to start the race with a qualifying lap, obviously, to be eligible for this award. And if need be, if there is a tiebreaker, because I'm sure there is a very big possibility, even though we all know how Talladega works, Jeremy, very hard to not get any incident points. But if there are multiple drivers who have no incident points in tonight's session, whoever gained the most positions passed during the race will be awarded that $25. But in the drivers' meeting, they were told by Empower Ed that there is a possibility that they could award out multiple different drivers with this award tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that, obviously, and we're going to announce that winner at the end of the show. And, you know, just what an interesting thing, Jeremy, you know, you talk about Talladega, this track, it's bad, fast, it's mean, you know, clean. And I would say green, but you don't really see a lot of green flag racing here. Towards the end of these races, it usually becomes a wreck fest. So I think for this, this award in particular, you see a lot of guys that are probably going to be like, all right, I might try to calm it down a little bit. I don't want to be as racy. How do you think that with this $25 cash prize up on the line, that it's going to let these drivers race and play out tonight?
You're going to see way more of that Dale Jr. line up there on the top. The trucks run great there with the new aero package. So if you got to keep that 0x in check, I would expect some guys to, take it easy, single file out this thing for a while. 70 laps, you got plenty of time. So that's what I expect here tonight to try to pick up that 25 bucks. And yeah, we can see multiple drivers end up with 0, and that's why they acknowledged that and they said, hey, it's up for multiple people potentially. So that being said, I got to make a quick correction. It's not calling the wild, it's calm in the chaos. I made that word wild for out of no reason, so there you go. Calm in the chaos is the correct terminology for that and the race. Calm in the chaos 186. So that being said, Jason, we are qualifying. So we're going to get our cameras off your screen, go full screen here. And I'd like to go over a couple chats if you can bear with my voice there. Daniel Kahn says, let's go. Juan Restrepo, if I pronounce that right, says, vamos. That means go. I also said Infield Legends. Infield Legends is a big name here. They picked up some steam in the YouTube chat. So we got Monica Khan saying that as well. Infield Legends for the win. Let's go racing. Hazard 1 making a funny, saying, Barry race team, you left your holler lights on. Please send the driver responsible to the admin office. And then Natalie Akers saying, today is the day. Let's go Polly, in reference to Polly Torrance, which happens to be on your screen right now.
Yeah, and Polly Torrance obviously flying down the Alabama Gang super stretch at over 175 miles an hour. And Jeremy, this is a track where you really have to hit your marks properly. And the pole position can come down to mere thousandths of a second. And when you look at so many fixed or, well, I was going to say open, but you look at so many fixed setup races here like the OTSS Select Series is, this is a very, very tight-knit qualifying grid when it comes down to it. We're going to take a look, obviously, at the grid after qualifying like we usually do on a weekly basis. And Paulie goes to the top of the charts, first one to put a lap in with a 55.329, but you're going to see everybody within, I want to say, about 2/10 of each other. And there are some people who are just flying up to the top of the charts now. Jeremy, I mean, talk about qualifying, because I feel like, in my opinion, as a previous sim racer, I feel like super speedway qualifying is one of the most important things, and you have to hit your marks perfectly.
Qualifying, absolutely. The times are so tight that you just any wiggle in the steering wheel, anytime you come off the yellow line, it costs you that maybe 3 positions. Especially if you mess up in turn 1, you have to recover that lap, the entire lap. Turn 4, you can get away with a little bit more, but it's very crucial if you want to start first or second, that front row, which is very valuable in a race where 0x counts the most for 25 bucks. We want to be in that top spot, so no mistakes there, and it's very hard, like you said. Right now, Jonathan Hammond has that time at a 54.760, and as I say that, Bobby Mantle, Bradley Berry, Danny White, they're all filing in now, so Jonathan Hammond just goes from 1st to 6th in that matter of time I just spoke. So there you go. There's how sensitive these times can be.
Currently with the pole for the time being is Bobby Mantle, the Canadian, the only Canadian in the field with a 54.609. DJ Honeycutt will take the green flag for his first lap here of the night as we ride on board the Ghost Motorsports machine, riding through 1 and 2. You just see that fine line being rode around. You don't want to hold the bottom too much on corner exit. And all the way down the straightaway, it's all about holding that wheel steady, just like through the corners, like Jeremy had mentioned. And it's going to be a really, really interesting race tonight, not only with the Calm in the Chaos Award being awarded by Power Ed here at the end of tonight's race. But going over a few notes here tonight, Jeremy, we had only 2 penalties. After last week, Dustin and I were in the drivers' meeting prior to tonight's qualifying and practice sessions. And they said last week at Texas was one of those races that they want to see. Maybe not for so much dominance for the other drivers, because we'll get to that in a second, but only 2 penalties here coming into tonight. The 23 10-point penalty for no banner on the front windshield, and the number 2 machine got an EOL for tonight and a drive-through for a restart violation. Along with that, to add matters worse, a 2-week probation. But other than that, Jeremy, first 3 weeks compared to the other penalties we've seen, it's been pretty clean the last week or so.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago they want to reel that back, and they're looking tonight to be that night for sure. As we're qualifying's done, Jason. They all wrapped it up there. All the drivers posted time 18 times out of the 26 entries here for the Calm and the Chaos 186. It's grid time.
Everybody's starting to grid up, and here we go. The Victory Fuel Pole Award goes to Bobby Mantle in that number 89 machine alongside Stephen Hayes in row 1. Row number 2, you'll find Brad Berry and EJ Luna there in P3 and P4. Row number 3, you'll find Donnie Honeycutt in the 22 machine starting P5 alongside Danny White, who's a previous winner this season. Row number 4, you'll find Jonathan Gaston and James Robbins in the P8. And then in row number 5, Jeremy, rounding out the top 10, Jared Hammond and Paulie Torrance.
P11, you'll find Jonathan Hammond in 12th place, Brad Miner in the 46. Row 7, DJ Honeycutt in 13th, Dave Harrington in the 66, starting in 14th. Row 8, so it'll be 15th, John Border. 16th, the 88 of Curtis Noble. Row 9, P17, Dustin Franklin in 74. 77 is Chris Harrington. Row 10 and 19th, Tyler Honeycutt. Keith Vaughn in the 23 starts in 20th. Row 11 is going to be Abram Ghostin in 21st. 22nd, 44 of Mark Sherwood. Row 12, Corey Jones there in the 63. Alex Zirkle in the 8th and 24th. 25th in the final row, Stephen Abbassett in 25th. Alejandro Khan in 26th.
And we are looking to have ourselves a great night tonight. Just 1 week ago, if you caught the broadcast on Nerd TV, it was all Abram Ghostin going on to lead 113 out of 120 laps. And Jeremy, you don't really see a lot of dominance like that anymore, especially at a mile and a half with the Truck Series. But man, oh man, did he put on a clinic 1 week ago to get that victory.
Yeah, that was a very huge blowout, very huge moment, and that's a lot of motivation when it comes to a mile and a half race. So maybe it won't play out here tonight, but next time they see a mile and a half, he's going to be up on that seat, ready to get back to it and try to lead just as many laps as last week. And before we go green here, I'll take the Empower Ed research read off here because huge partner of OTSS, and we want to really show the love to them by reading off exactly what's going on over there. So Empower Ed Research Institute is a nonprofit organization committed to advancing education and communities through research, innovation, and collaboration. Through its research programs and services, Empower Ed Research Institute strives to harness the power of education to uplift individuals, foster community engagement, and effect positive change. Empower Ed Research Institute invites educators, researchers, policymakers, community leaders, and individuals passionate about education to join us on our mission. Together, we can make a meaningful difference in the lives of learners and communities. Visit empoweredresearch.org for more information.
And obviously Empower Ed giving out that Calm in the Chaos award tonight for the driver with the lowest amount of incident points here this evening. $25 cash prize up on the table here tonight. It's the 5th race of the OTSS Select Series here, getting ready to rumble for 70 laps here at the Talladega Superspeedway. And it is going to be a blast. Pace truck pulls off down to the pit lane, and when the flagman waves the green flag, that being Barney, we will get ready to rip here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Bobby Mantle won the pole, the number 89 Can-Am Silverado. He's got Stephen Hayes alongside him. Trucks are doubled up. ready to go. 26 trucks under a blanket, and they'll stay there all night. Green flags in the air. We're racing in the Calm and the Chaos 186, presented by Empower Ed, as they fly down into turn number 1. Stephen Hayes, Bobby Mantle, side by side. Jeremy, it's going to look a lot like this all night long.
Find out here in the first couple laps who's the biggest mover, who's going to settle in nicely here to start off this race. A lot of space right there around the 66 of Harrington, as they really just kind of almost two-pack it there. Look at the back half of the field. They're dropping back quick. We already got a 2-second separation between the top 15 onwards back to 25th, 26th. And you see right there on the screen, that's kind of a really spaced out restart, or start of the race rather. Kind of impressive. But again, what's that award going for? It's for 0x, no incident points. And I guess, Jason, this is how you're going to do it, is by spacing them out.
And that is true. By the way, the number 2 of Steven Abbassett, remember he had that EOL for restart violation after last week. He's serving his penalty now in the number 2 Budweiser Chevy Silverado, rolling slowly through pit lane. And Jeremy, that's going to be the thing for Steven Abbassett here. He's not exactly, so far back that much. If there is a caution flag early on, he could easily get back up there. But if there's not one pretty soon, he could easily go a lap down. And when you're in that situation like Steven Abbassett, I mean, when the pack comes flying up to you, I feel like you're just kind of like a rock, just flying through the air and everything's flying around you.
Yeah, 100% here as we got the 22. Gonna lead lap number 2 here. Bobby Mantle drops back to P5 to 22.72 in the 13. Lead the charge here on lap number 2, as you see the top 3 trucks running the top, and then you got the inside of the 72 trying to truck through. That's Jonathan Gaston, who did cross the line in second. Stephen Hayes is going to go to the outside of the 22, Donnie Honeycutt. He's going to bring Danny White with him. Old Dogs and Lone Star Racing working together to pass the 22 into turn 3.
Danny White will shove the 13 of Hayes out to the race lead. Donnie Honeycutt leading the inside lane charge. Will Hayes drop down to the bottom? He will not. Stays up top there, ripping around turns 3 and 4, back down towards the tri-oval, which is the fastest part of this racetrack, and one of the spots where one push could send a bunch of other drivers scattering and slamming into the wall here as we complete lap number 3 onto 4, still side by side. And Jeremy, me and Dustin, we were in the drivers meeting, like I stated previously, and obviously the Honeycutts and other drivers as well, stating how they felt about coming into tonight. And one of the things that was said in the drivers meeting was you can't win this race on the first lap, and you're probably not going to try to win it until the last lap. They wanted to just ride around with each other. I mean, when it comes to the super speedway races, do you feel like the best thing that you can do is ride around and wait for something to happen? Or would you want to get aggressive and try to get that track position so you can put all that chaos behind you?
I mean, it depends on if you're, where did he come from, Harvick, or if you're Dale Jarrett back in the 90s and early 2000s, where you just, stay invisible, back out the field for 90% of the race and then show up where it matters most. Or you can be like some of the hard chargers, like the Honeycutts, who just stay up front no matter what kind of race is going on in front of them and just try to lead the most laps. I've seen it work both ways. I like to feel out the field for a little bit, drop back, and then hard charge at the end. But this draft package is so unique compared to what the trucks have used to be even just, last season on iRacing. So it's really difficult for me to say what is the better way to do it. Passing seems to be not so much right now. The inside's kind of taken over, surprisingly. I know Daytona, it's been Highline Fest, and I expected that at Talladega, but so far the early charge is on the inside, and we'll have to see how the Highline works.
You see we're riding on board right now with Hammond currently on the inside lane. Everybody just minding their P's and Q's for the time being. Long race, 70 laps. Fuel window's about 30, 35 laps. And Jeremy, that's going to be something that I feel like these drivers are going to have to try to combat when it comes down to, whoa, one truck way out of line there right in front of Hammond. I believe that's Dave Harrington dropping to the back like a rock currently. in that number 66, and it is. Notice he was blinking a lot there about a couple laps ago. In fact, dropped out for about 3 seconds or so and came back in, Jeremy. I can only imagine that probably over the radio or so, officials probably came in and said, hey, man, you're blinking a lot. Connection issues. We don't want to cause a record. He just, decided to be a hero and probably go back to the back there.
A very respectable move to just go down below the yellow line, which it looked like he did when he came back into the frame. I moved back up after everyone had passed him, so I would say that's a good, respectable move from the 66. YouTube chats, see Twisted Drifter, he's back in race control here tonight. He's expecting a wild one. TexAs Motorsports, sponsor from last week. See here, we are spectators tonight. Cry emoji. I guess they did not make the race, but they are spectating here tonight. And then Hazard One says, attaboy Barry, go get him, brother. Keep the shiny side up, which is very important at Talladega. And usually someone goes turtle in one of these races.
Yeah, and that's a thing that I personally have not gotten to experience yet, Jeremy, is these trucks, within the year I took a break from broadcasting with you guys, is they had an update where these trucks can blow over, and they can blow over very, very easily, not just at super speedways, but at tracks like a Michigan or Kansas. A little bit of jockeying for position here up in the front of the field. Jonathan Gaston, I believe, nearly got shot out of the cannon there, and you see everybody just minding their P's and Q's, trying to push one another, but don't want to push each other too hard. And Jeremy, I'm expecting we're going to have at least one big one here tonight. Only 26 trucks in the field. The front few guys are pretty much only separated by about 2 3/4 of a second, or rather 2.3 seconds. This is the thing about Talladega. You're going to have these guys who want to stay up in the front of the field and race for the win or race for positions, keep themselves out of chaos. Or like you said, you be like Dale Jarrett, 90% of the race you hang in the back. And obviously towards the end of this race, you try to work your way up, but you really risk it. That's something I always tried to do. But it's definitely something that really puts you in a sticky situation at the end of these races.
Yeah, 100% there. And riding on board the 25, Abram Ghostin here. The class of the field last week, we're going to look at him right behind the 47 here, Alejandro Ocon. And the 25 currently sitting all the way back in 21st position, taking one of the easy routes, Jason. Just him and a couple others just floating in the back. Maybe they're expecting that big one that you just talked about a minute ago. Maybe they're seeing it, but that was a great shot there right off the turn 4 where the camera just showed everybody in single file formation. There's Old Dogs racing there, 5th, 6th, 8th, 10th. And then Abram Ghostin all by his lonesome from his team all the way back in 21st.
And Old Dogs Racing only sits second currently to Lone Star Racing for the team standings. I know we still have a little ways to go, but remember, this is only a 12-race schedule. We're on race number 5. Next week will be halfway through the season. And we talk about these 2 race teams. You look at Lone Star, Bobby Mantle in the lead. They have a lot of drivers that are scattered. If there's one race that I feel like Old Dogs can really show up and possibly overtake Lone Star for the team standings points, it would be Talladega. And you see Bobby Mantle first, Stephen Hayes 4th, Luna 6th, who, by the way, is on a top 5 streak right now. He is 4 for 4 with top 5s. Wants to add on to it here tonight, Mr. EJ Luna, only driver in the series currently with 4 for 4 in top 5s. But another team, Jeremy, that I feel like we haven't really gotten to talk about so much when it comes to highlighting, even though we talk about them, in pre-race or post-race with how strong they are, is Ghost Motorsports. They are 3rd in the standings. And from what we saw last year out of the drivers who were part of Ghost Motorsports in the previous league they were in, they were so dominant. And then you look at this tonight, they're 39 points behind the team in first for the team standings, being Lone Star. And they are yet to break out tonight. Could tonight be the night where Ghost Motorsports breaks out?
They used to be so dominant when we first started calling them a year and a half plus ago, and they have a great chance tonight for sure, right? But right now they're not putting themselves in the greatest position. But this race will get crazy. That chaos will kick up over time, but right now 3rd, 11th, 12th, and 19th is where those 4 trucks sit. And speaking of teams, Texas Motorsports not here. I mentioned earlier, Charlie Bass illness is putting Charlie down, and Nolan Todd has work. So 2 different reasons why those 2 drivers, 94 and the 99, both not starting in tonight's 26 truck lineup here at Talladega. Currently on lap number 12, and they're about to consume the number 2 of Steven Abbassed, who did the drive-through on the end of lap 1. He is probably 1 lap or 2 from being consumed by that massive field that's right behind him.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about, Jeremy, at the start of the show. Right when that number 2 machine ducked down to the pit lane and came off, was that they were going to need a caution very, very quickly. And Abbassed more than likely going to go a lap down here tonight if there is no caution earlier in the going. And most of these guys staying cool, calm, and collected for the time being. Still Bobby Mantle up front. And want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors here tonight, Icon Apparel Company. Icon Apparel Company is a top-notch company with a big-time product, home of the gloves of sim racing. Icon Apparel makes the most breathable and durable gloves for the sim racing world, also specializing in fully customized sublimation printing on everything from team uniforms to shirts, hoodies, allowing for 0 restriction on colors, which allows for the absolute fastest turnaround in the business. If you want to check out their full apparel and merchandise line, you can visit them at iconapparelcompany.com. And if you use code SUPERNERD, you'll save 25% off at checkout. Still like double file currently here up at the front of this field, lap 14 out of 70. Jeremy, we have not seen Bobby Mantle, Donnie Honeycutt, Stephen Hayes go anywhere. And in fact, I feel like this little group here within the top 10 have kind of separated themselves from the field. Look at everybody on back, pretty much single file here as we take an onboard cam here from the Boozy Jerky Tipsy cam.
A little tipsy. That's because the driver of this drone does not know what he's doing. Completely joking. He's actually one of the best drone pilots in all of iRacing in general. As we're flying over the 36, the 6, and everybody inside the top 10, as there's the number 2 gonna elect to take the bottom, which me and Dustin have had plenty of conversation about. Where does the lap truck go? And thankfully he catches them on corner exit, which allows him to go below the double yellow line for a quick, easy pass. I've always talked about going to the top side. That's the classic way to let people by. He takes the bottom. Thankfully we caught him on the straightaway with those. He tries to blend in a little bit as we keep the Boozy camera flying through this lap number 15. The 22 Donnie Honeycutt still leading the way.
Feel like it has really disturbed the back half of the field more than it did the front, obviously. 15 laps in, we're going to take our first picture-in-picture mode. Stick around, don't go anywhere. You're watching the OTSS Select Series here, live from Talladega. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, can you do me a favor? I'm really hungry, but I'm trapped in here, and I dropped my last piece of boozy jerky on the floor. I can't reach it. Would you mind grabbing me a bag of the most tender, flavorful booze-infused jerky on the planet? I promise I'll pay you back. I mean, I'd eat my piece, but I can't reach it. Oh, actually, I got it. Oh, it's so good. It's so tender, so flavorful. You should really pick yourself up a bag. But if you do, you can't eat it in here. Now, this is my spot. I own this spot. Boozy Jerky, the original booze-infused beef jerky with a pair. Now available.
Chevyland's hitting the ground running this new year with the Silverado Sell-Off. Receive up to $9,000 off MSRP from your Silverado headquarters on select new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s. Shop the area's best Silverado inventory. Over 120 Silverado models to choose from. But hurry in soon, because the Silverado Sell-Off won't last long. Start the new year in high gear at the Silverado Sell-Off. Happening now at Chevyland, your Silverado headquarters.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to Nerd TV's broadcast of the OTSS Select Series, live from the Talladega SuperSpeedway. It's the Calm and the Chaos 186, presented by Empower Ed. And so far, so good. It's been all clean and green for the first 21 completed laps of 70. Currently, camera is panned on that number 97 machine of Brad Berry, slowly but surely making his way up towards the front. Jeremy, we just saw a lot of single-file racing while we took our first picture-in-picture mode of the night, but now starting to get a little bit dicey and kind of questionable, because you think about it, green flag pit stop should be coming up within lap 30.
Yeah, you said that during our commercial break, and yeah, it's kind of backwards, right? You usually single file out, get to the bottom when you expect that pit stop to be less than 10 laps away. And we were on that 97 Brad Berry, and man, was he in the 7 truck who just blinked out as he's now 3 wide in the sucker hole. Those 2 trucks were just passing a bunch of vehicles by themselves. surprisingly went from outside the top 10 inside the top 5 in just 2 laps with 2 trucks versus the rest of the field. I thought that was pretty impressive stuff, and now they've kind of stalled out as they've gotten more help from behind, which don't ask me how that works. But then the 89, Mr. Bobby Mantle just said, "Thanks, Bradley. I'm going to use you as your assistance," and just like that, you're going to go from 12th to 4th back to maybe 15th in a matter of 5 laps. Welcome to Talladega.
They split border in the 7 a few laps ago, and now they put Brad Barry to the outside. Bobby Mantle, definitely the truck that wants to lead that outside lane like we have seen a majority of the night. But so far up front, it's Danny White, Paulie Torrance, and obviously, like we just previously stated, Bobby Mantle in that number 89 machine. Jeremy, and talk about how I feel like important it is to have that drafting partner tonight. And I feel like for Bobby Mantle, Stephen Hayes is probably going to be the guy that he wants to be around all night long.
This race is still kicking in there, Paulie Torrance, and that's what Briggs 0317 has shouted out. Shake and bake, Paulie Torrance, this driver, the number 6, riding on the spoiler cam from the passenger side of the truck on the inside lane here on lap number 25 of the scheduled 70. We're 11 laps away from the halfway mark of the Calm and the Chaos 186 presented by Empower Ed. Pit stops actually might be happening this time. Danny White on the radio saying pitting this time. Paulie Torrance calling out as well. So here we go, Jason, lap 25, and we got some of the field pitting right now.
Yeah, a little bit early from what we had just said previously a few moments ago, but this time by, it looks like Danny White going to lead the field down to pit road for the first round of green flag pit stops, brings it all the way to the wall. Will we have any incidents on back? He gets to pit road clean, gets up to speed, down pit road clean and green for Mr. Danny White. He brings along the 6 machine as well of Paulie Torrance, Abram Ghostin, last week's Dominator and winner, along with the pole award. He is in pit road as well. James Robbins, Jonathan Gaston as well. So only a handful of trucks. I'm sure that some guys will probably elect to come to pit road this time by. Bobby Mantle, Stephen Hayes, EJ Luna, Dustin Franklin, and Brad Barry, your top 5 for the time being. And everybody has kind of separated now just a little bit now that there's been some pit stops. Let's take a look here at the track map as we're going to have some guys probably coming to pit road soon. Here we come. Here comes Brad Miner to lead the field down pit road. And there we go. You got 2 separate packs. Guys leaving pit road near, or rather now, some guys coming in obviously now as well. Everybody gets on the binders and comes down to pit road. And Jeremy, this is going to be one of the toughest pit road entries they have all season long.
John Border just touched the grass after pit road entry. I'm not sure if that's going to flag a penalty or not. We'll have to see if he gets any holds there. But yeah, the 7, John Border, had an excellent pit entrance, man. He just passed his teammate, the 97, Bradley Barry, like nothing on the outside. Got the advantage on that. He's rolling, so no penalty for the 7 for hitting the grass after crossing the yellow line that signals the start of pit road. I don't hear any pit road calls on the radio this time. That doesn't mean it's not happening. We're going to watch out for turn 4. These top 4 right here not coming down pit road. The second group, caution.
Oh.
First time on lap 26 presented by iRacing iFlag, flying in the air. And we're going to have to take a look to see. Looks like the 63 Corey Jones and the 10. A lot of damage to the right front of that truck. And Jason, this is a oopsie moment from Corey Jones.
Yeah, that is a big yikes right in front of the field. I can almost imagine that the officials will probably be looking over that incident like they do with every single one here after tonight's race. And Jeremy, you don't really see that a lot at the super speedways. You could see it with the Gen 7 car, but with the trucks, I don't know if he shifted wrong. Oh, he moneyed. I think he moneyed right there.
I was listening to the throttle, and I honestly think he just gassed it up too quick and hit a subtle bump, and the cold tire just spun. Like, even though you're, not really, you're kind of on a restrictor plane of the truck scene here at Talladega, right? So, but they got enough power and there's not enough weight in the back to where the tire spins a little easier on a cold tire. And I think he just throttled up a little too much. Like I said, I listened to the audio, and I could be wrong on that from iRacing's replay when you're in spectator mode isn't as accurate as you are in the real session as a driver, but the sound was just a little much throttle. And actually, he's trying to ask him now on the radio what happened. See if I get a call in on that.
Yeah, obviously not something that you want to see here early on. And now this is going to enable those guys who did not pit that last time around to come down to the pits this time by, and they should probably lose their track position if I had to assume. I don't believe anybody went one lap down, but this is obviously going to help out the number 2 of Steven Abbaset. I believe he was the only driver one lap down for the time being. Corey Jones out of the race, so he is going to be awarded with the +1 lap extra lap presented by Extra Life here, going from 25th still to 25th, but obviously back on the lead lap now. That is exactly what he needed, and obviously will make his way back around towards the tail end of the field. Chris Harrington inherits the lead for the time being. Danny White, James Robbins, Jonathan Gaston, Abram Ghostin, your top 5 for the time being. And so far, Jeremy, it's been pretty clean. Not really a lot of things you could say. I mean, is it too early to say that Bobby Mantle is the favorite? Because that truck just does not want to be behind anybody, and he is really strong, especially with that 13 of Stephen Hayes behind him.
Stephen Hayes has been very strong. Whenever he gets a little bit of a run, he's been working the draft very well. Being back there right now a little bit, watch him to be a quick mover back up to the top 3 and dance around maybe for a lap lead here tonight, as we're about a lap and a half way back to green flag racing here. A couple more YouTubes have the chats have come back. Seabass, that's Charlie Bass, saying don't worry, we're coming back with a vengeance at IRP. It's Indianapolis Raceway Park. And then for your old timers, it's Lucas Oil. And then C. Gomez saying Hammond is winning this race, calling Jonathan Hammond to victory lane. And then let's go. I'm not sure what Evil King is saying. Let's go NASRAC. I don't. Oh, is that the race team? I forget. Let's pull up NASRAC since I don't know them. Let's refresh my memory, Dustin. Pull up the team here and see what these guys are doing here. Got the graphic. There we go. Doing this on the fly here because we're still kind of new to some of these teams, and there it is. NASRAC, John Border, Brad Berry, and Corey Jones, the 3 that we've just talked about recently. Look at me not knowing stuff. Now I got my lesson of the day. But NASRAC racing, Corey Jones, we saw bring up the caution, so his motor was toast. We saw John Border and Brad Berry working very well as a team on the outside right before that caution to cycle themselves from outside the top 10 back to maybe 3rd or 4th, and then they got kicked back as soon as they did the effort to get them up there. So expect them to work together again to get back to where they were. And here we go. We got half a lap or so left before we go back to green flag. Let's review the points. Mr. Jason, what do we got here for the point standings so far after 4 races?
Yeah, just after 4 races tonight, we have EJ Luna leading the points over Danny White by just 5 points. And it goes to show you, with no playoff format, consistency is key. We mentioned earlier in the show, EJ Luna, the only driver in the series currently to go 4 for 4 with top 5s. Danny White, the only driver to go 4 for 4 with top 10s. Missed out on a top 5 in one of the races previously, but everybody is pretty content for the time being. The top 10 only separated by 50 points, so it's still anybody's game. And obviously, Jeremy, I know you were just reading the chats before, and C. Gomez saying that Hammond is winning this race. Do not count out Jonathan Hammond. Jonathan Hammond gained 8 spots in the points after a 3rd place at Texas just 1 week ago. He's currently in 11th in points, only 52 points back. And with this race being kind of a crapshoot, you never know what to expect. Jonathan Hammond could very well be sitting inside the top 7 or top 6 in points after tonight's race. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, just like we have obviously all night long with all these drivers. First caution getting ready to wrap up. The pace truck dives down to the pit lane. It's going to be Danny White leading James Robbins, Jonathan Gaston, Abram Ghostin, and Paulie Torrance, your top 5 back to the restart zone. And just like that, green flag is back out in the air. 30 laps down, handful more to go as we hit lap 31. And Jeremy Danny White leads them all down to turn 1 with help from Jonathan Gaston behind.
Yep, everyone through the gears nice and solidly here as 64 momentarily had a clear moment to go top, but he's staying bottom in the 76. Center of turn 1 and turn 2, Farrell Robbins goes right to the front, bringing, the 74, Dustin Franklin, side checks the 25, Abram Ghostin as they got almost sideways off a turn 2 exit. Franklin making some big moves from Lone Star Racing. You see him currently P2 on the team chart. He was just back outside the top 5 on this start here. And look at him making moves, but just like that, the outside so strong. 76, Robbins back to the front, going to bring Abram Ghostin. EJ Luna gets left high and dry with the 7 of John Border. And speaking of 7 of John Border, Lucky Pie on YouTube wants to know where the 6 and 7's at. Well, you see them both roughly on your same screen, and they're just a couple positions apart. There's the 7, there's the 6, both in frame.
Yeah, 3 wide up at the front of the field. Now we got some jockeying for position. Dustin Franklin on that initial start, or rather restart, did not want to ride in line. We saw him go from the top to the middle to the bottom. Well, now he's found his way back to the top. He's got help with EJ Luna on back behind him, while last week's winner, Abram Ghostin, going back to the front with help from Danny White in the 64 machine 2x2 as they come out of turn 4, this time by to hit lap 33. And we just wrapped up green flag pit stops a short while ago. In fact, first caution of the night being caused by Corey Jones made us have a yellow flag during the cycle green flag pit stop. So everybody on a little bit different fuel cycle here as we ride on board again with the Boozy Jerky Tipsy Cam here. Looking at the side from Abram Ghostin, there's Dustin Franklin on the outside, and Jeremy outside lane starting to prevail a little bit here as we're about nearly halfway through this race.
Yeah, this is where I kind of expected the outside to start working and continue to work. The inside lane really impressed me before that caution came out, and it looks like now the coin has flipped a little bit. The outside is starting to make some moves, but also we got some new leaders up in the front half of the field. We saw Donnie Honeycutt lead a lot of those laps early on. He's back there just around the 10th place at the moment. So it all depends on who got pushing you, who can lead the best, who's got the steady wheel in their hands. And right now, Dustin Franklin seems to be doing that job just fine with EJ Luna on the top. 3 Lone Star Racing drivers back to back to back on the outside. 3 Old Dog drivers back to back to back on the inside lane.
Noticing, Jeremy, a lot of these guys are not so content to be riding single file for the time being. It was only a handful of laps after the initial start of this race where drivers started to get single file, but now guys are going 2x2. You see Stephen Hayes in the number 13, who's pretty much been inside the top 5 all night long, trying to make his way back up towards the front. He finds Bobby Mantle just a truck and a half ahead of him. Bobby Mantle going to put it 3 wide now. He'll shove the number 36 of Jared Hammond out of the way to get through the middle. And boy, oh boy, look out. Bobby Mantle side-by-side contact a little bit with the number 7 of John Border. And Jeremy, just Bobby Mantle being so aggressive here on lap 35. Do you be this aggressive to get back towards the front? A little bit of more contact, still going at it.
Here's the chaos. It looks like the 7 and 89 are having a little bit of a discrepancy on position on the track right now. And to answer your question, John Border actually on pit road when he touched the grass gave himself a 1X. That should disqualify him of the reward for the $25 at the end of the race. But Mantle, as we got beef with John Border, Bobby Mantle, even if they don't, they look like on track that they do. But right now, timeout has been put to the 7. He gets shifted to the outside lane. Good night. We'll see you back here shortly. But 89 might not have an incident point, so he's got to be careful. Don't be ruffling up those feathers if you want 25 bucks into this thing.
I don't even think that these guys really care that much in the moment about the award, even though it's definitely in the back of their mind subconsciously. But I mean, Jeremy, at such a high rate of speed, you know, in the virtual world, and knowing that this is a league event, you know, those two drivers, that's going to be looked at by the race officials for sure, no doubt about it. I can imagine that some sort of probation or possibly just a warning will come out of the, you know, the race officials after tonight's race. To go towards those two camps. That's not the type of move you want to pull, especially at Talladega.
Not at the halfway mark. We're on lap 36 onwards to lap 37, so just past halfway. And I mean, it produces some awesome showings on the broadcast side. It gives us things to talk about. So I'm all for it. 3 wide here. The 97 up in the middle, going to leave Keith Vaughn on the outside. High and dry, no teammates. He's going to shift it all the way to the back of the field there. The top 10 or 12, still 2 by 2 by 2. Couple trucks single filed out and spaced after that. And then back to that little 3 wide there momentarily in the back half of the field. Abram Ghostin, last week's winner, just after the restart, has found himself in a great place with his great teammates behind him, pushing him along. Old Dogs has really stepped it up in 2026. And they're doing a fantastic job, but EJ is trying to really get to Dustin Franklin's back bumper to get him back to the race lead.
And while everybody is jockeying for position, Abram Ghostin said that he really sucked at Talladega. I believe it was 1 week ago when we did interview him,
really?
and he is really showing up for the time being. Maybe tonight's that night where, you know, he could possibly get a super speedway win. I mean, Christopher Bell won at Atlanta just nearly 1 year ago, and he hated super speedways, and then sarcastically after the race said, "I love super speedway racing," when we all know that was a joke from Christopher Bell. But while everybody tries to chase the 25 of Abram Ghost, I'm going to give a shout out to one of our new partners here at Nerd TV, being Chevyland. Chevyland's hitting the ground running this new year with the Silverado sell-off. Receive up to 9,000% off MSRP from your Silverado headquarters on select new 2026 Chevrolet Silverado 1500s. Shop the area's best Silverado inventory with over 120 Silverado models to choose from. Hurrying soon, though, because the Silverado sell-off won't last long. Start the new year high gear at the Silverado sell-off, happening now at Chevyland, your Silverado headquarters. For more information, you can visit Chevyland.com or a full listing of models in stock. 38 laps so far up on the board for the time being, about to come down and around to lap 40 out of 70. Jeremy, I feel like this race is flying by. I know during the commercial I said to you, man, I feel like this is going to be probably one of the quickest races of the year. And, buddy, we're approaching halfway pretty shortly, and it's been all Abram Ghostin at the front, but I'm still looking and have my pencil circled around that number 89 machine of Bobby Mantle. He's been so aggressive throughout the field all night long. I'm sure it's only going to be a matter of time before we see that number 89 Can-Am machine back at the front.
We'll be back up there, and we are actually a little bit past halfway. This is the 5th lap after the halfway mark. That was on lap 35, so 30 laps to go this time by. I'm hearing reports of maybe one driver on pit road coming up. No, that's the lap traffic. So the 77, Chris Harrington's going to stay to the outside, which I notated before. The number 2, Steven Abbottstead, was going to stay on the inside lane. So there's that lane choice discrepancy there. Jason, how do you feel? High or low when you're a lap truck?
I mean, if you're a lap truck, honestly, anytime I was racing, I was always going to the outside lane, because I don't want to be on the bottom and make them have to move around me. I'd rather them just, you know, have to go below me. That's just pretty much common courtesy at Talladega. I mean, unless you're Joey Logano, you'll just, you know, normally just stick it in the middle of the racetrack and hope for the best. And especially like Denny Hamlin did within the last couple of years. Those two were just notorious for going a lap down and just putting their cars right in the middle of the field and getting everybody scrambled up so they can blend back in and catch the draft, so they could fight for that free pass position. But nobody fighting for the free pass position right now. Or rather, no, my apologies. Chris Harrington obviously just went a lap down, so he is going to be the extra life lap earner, obviously, if the caution does come out. But he is 2 laps down, so he's going to need a couple of those if he wants to be in contention for the win. Coming down this time, 29 laps to go. Bottom side being fed by a lot of different trucks. Outside lane starting to fizzle out. I know we were talking about it, Jeremy, just a handful of laps ago. The outside lane was working in, but so far only 5 trucks. But what do you know? It's pretty much 4 out of the 5 trucks we saw earlier in the race that were working together, and they're really trying to make that outside work now.
Yeah, I've been really impressed. There was a big update on iRacing, either was it today or yesterday, and either way, probably today. But the draft, from what I was described as, in the previous weeks, was it's high lane, there's nothing but high lane. But for some reason, these guys have figured out how to get the low line to work, and whether it be teamwork, whether that just be whatever the case is, it's a fixed setup series, so they're all basically running the same thing minus maybe the steering ratios. It's the only thing you can adjust inside these trucks, as we're now 27 laps to go. They're doing a fantastic job. Not much swapping of positions. The top 6 or 7 been roughly the same. Oh, the 44, Mark Sherwood, a little left to right motion there, maybe from a bad bump. Gets it going straight once more as Mantle is right behind him in the 44. But that's only 5 or 6 trucks on the top. Everybody else single filed on back for the most part here. And not one truck's moved up to the 3rd lane. So the inside has just been much more dominant than the middle and upper side.
Yeah, very surprised. Usually that outside lane rolls very well on corner exit, but so far tonight it has been bottom, with the top occasionally sprinkling in its presence for the race lead, battling up there from time to time, but it's been the bottom most of the night, like you said, Jeremy. And Abram Ghostin continuing to lead the charge here, coming 27 laps to go this time by here from Talladega. Want to give another shout out to one of our partners here at Nerd TV, that being Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker by the Gittimer company, I probably butchered the heck out of that, offers innovative hardware and software designed to give passionate gamers a deeper level of gaming immersion. The Gamer 2 unit is the standard in sim racing immersion, giving sim racers a haptic transducer which easily attaches to any center post gaming chair or sim racing rigs. This product will give any sim racer that much needed feel for the car that the drivers really need to perform at peak performance. See their entire product line at buttkicker.com. And I'm sure that these guys are really feeling those bumps going through the tri-oval, Jeremy. That is one of the fastest parts of the racetrack. And when it comes down to it, most people see a lot of wrecks down the back straightaway here at Talladega. But boy, oh boy, the last handful of years, not only in the virtual world, but also real life, a lot of accidents have happened in that tri-oval because of a push gone wrong and going over those bumps.
And we've seen cars hit the catch fence. We've seen quite some chaos there in the tri-oval there before, because that finish line's just pushed an extra couple 100 feet outside of that boundary. And look at the 64 and 25. Not only have they been leading the inside, they have gapped their own teammate there in the 76 of Robbins. And for a lap or two, they just kind of were on their own, passing the outside, keeping them at bay, clearing the inside lane. And that wasn't even by a tandem. That was just maybe Danny White working the bubble that these trucks produce to the maximum effort that he could. Got him a good setup there, and who knows? We'll see if they can do it again. Right now they got a little something brewing off of turn 2. Lap 46 underway here. So 25 to go, and Franklin got a decent run off of turn 2, but the 64 and 25 have just been, they got some magic, Jason, right now.
And here's a question I got for you, Jeremy. Now, we're approaching about 46 laps into this race, obviously. And, you know, with only a handful of laps to go, these guys last pitted around lap 25 to 30. Do we see guys pit around, you know, the 50-lap marker? Or because they know that there's the risk that they could run out of fuel if overtime, do they try to stretch it even more? If you're the driver in the driver's seat, what kind of calls are you making to your team to bring yourself down pit road to make sure that you're safe for the finish?
They're only gonna have a handful of laps left before they have to come down pit road. So you wanna equate for the at least one overtime. That's my opinion. You put 3 extra laps in the tank. So whenever you click on auto fuel and it says, I want 3.6 gallons, you move it up to the next click. You give yourself an extra lap or 2. In this case for me, you can't sacrifice more than 3, because if you do 3 and people, if you know they're going to try for the no overtime strategy, they're going to beat you off a pit road by several seconds, and you just can't have that. So you gotta find that fine line of what you want. To me, it's no more than 3, but probably 2. That gives you 1 overtime. And that's where I would stick. And as long as you get your teammates with you, it should be just fine. But that's the call. Some are going to go for it and just go for bare minimum. And whoever gets the call right is going to be the winner tonight.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact, too, remember, Empower Ed is giving out that Calm in the Chaos award tonight, and that is awarded $25 to whoever has the least amount of incident points here tonight. And it's been pretty clean and green so far. And if we do have a tiebreak for the least amount of incident points by various different drivers tonight, there was 2 things. One, Empower Ed said that they would be willing to pay out multiple drivers, but also the real winner would be whoever has the most positions gained throughout the race. So we'll have to find out and see, Jeremy. I'm sure those incident points are going to change drastically within the next 22 laps, because I am noticing a lot of bobbing and weaving and shifting around here up at the front of this field. Everybody under a blanket. Some have elected to duck out of the main draft and drop all the way towards the back, side by side, for about the first 7 rows deep. But a lot of pushing and shoving going on, Jeremy, and all it takes is one bad push, and the whole field could erupt into chaos.
That it could, and we've seen the bubble of these trucks work to the advantage of the 25 and 64, so we know that pushing isn't necessarily required to get to where you want to go. We saw Nasrak team of the 97 and 7 both move forward by themselves and pass multiple trucks on the outside. So you don't have to be necessarily on the bumper to get the job done. EJ Luna and Dustin Franklin showing that off right now, keeping a half a truck length. They've gotten to the door panel, the 64 finally. That was after Danny White was actually pushing Abram Ghostin's rear end through the tri-oval onwards to turn number 1. So it looks like maybe being inside that bubble is not the fastest route, even though the 64 is probably going to prove me wrong here into turn 3. Shoves the 25 into turn 3, and there we go. Gonna almost clear the 74, but then he gets the side draft back. Just can't get to the 25 off of 4 now.
Yeah, it's just so tough to get these lanes going, especially that outside lane as well. A little bit of, we have a little bit of a connection issue for Abram Ghostin. He is really settling the field, or rather startling the field all over the place. Big time blinkage from the number 25 machine, last week's dominator and winner. But it looks like his connection has stabilized for the time being. But Jeremy, because of that, look at how much it brought that outside lane all the way up. And in fact, they haven't gone all the way up. They've gone all the way to the lead. Dustin Franklin in the 74 machine out to the front. But here comes Abram Ghostin to respond back, saying, you took it away from me due to technicality. I'm going to take it right back.
Just like that, they're going to leave off right where they were, and just for a moment, 74 Franklin had lane choice, but he's going to stick with his teammate. EJ Luna going to be all over the back bumper, trying to get him at least 1 more lap led. It's going to be a drag race to the start-finish line, and then it's going to be won by Dustin Franklin. Lone Star Racing with a lap. 74 has lane choice again. Do they want to control both lanes or stick 5? To my surprise, Lone Star has all 5 teammates nose to tail on the outside lane, and that's where they're going to stick right there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Tells you they're on the outside lane right now.
And this is exactly what Lone Star Racing wants to see for the time being. Remember, they were coming tonight the team points leader, and I'm sure, Jeremy, there's going to be a huge shakeup in positions at the end of this race for those guys, and just in general, the entire field. Here's second in the team point standings being Old Dogs Racing, and you have Abram Ghostin in second, and then you see everybody else down alongside Paulie Torrance in the number 6 is 11. So All Dogs Racing and Lone Star Racing, pretty much everybody inside that top 10 right now. It is going crazy. Ghost Motorsports, the only other team currently inside that top 10, and they're getting fluctuated all over the place. And that last Ghost Motorsports driver who is inside the top 10 being DJ Honeycutt in that number 15 machine, looking to get it done. Ghost Motorsports yet to break out this season, still waiting to see which one of these drivers can get inside that victory lane. Here we go. Green flag pit stop starting to happen here. Final ones for the night, and it's going to be Abram Ghostin leading them all down to pit road. Jeremy, this is the money stop.
All of Old Dogs Racing plus a decent amount of the field. Looks like over 10 drivers storming down pit road on lap 53 in and out. Oh, with Keith Vaughn with a little bit of a pit issue. Overshoots it, backs it up. He's going to lose the draft. The 36 as well. 2 trucks having issues on pit lane. So the 23, 36, they're going to have to work together. Everybody else. 97, Bradley Berry. Can he get rolling? No, he's going to miss maybe even the 23. That's going to hurt for Bradley Berry. So a little spaced out goes the first pack into pit road. Now we're just going to wait for the second big pack to find their way. They stay out this time. Dustin Franklin leads lap 54.
First to 12th are the only drivers to not pit so far. So half the field has pit, the other half has not, or rather, yeah, half of the field is pit, the other half has not. And you can see the track map right now, presented by iRacing iFlag, just everywhere on this track. Some drivers really falling short of the draft, and that's just part of it, man. You got to get into the pits very clean and crisp, and you just got to hit it right on the dot. Because, Jeremy, I think, me, you, and Dustin as sim racers can state here to the folks watching at home that you have to hit your marks when it comes to super speedway green flag pit stops, because if you don't and you overshoot, if you're too short, you can really lose the draft coming off pit road if you just have one simple mistake on pit road.
And we saw multiple instances of that on the first set of trucks. We'll see how the second set runs through and how it shakes up the field. I was really impressed by how Lone Star could have 5 trucks in a row. Old Dogs Racing had 5 trucks in a row, all consuming the top 10, minus a few of the Ghosts. And right now it is Lone Star and Ghost Motorsports possibly working together on this pit stop sequence. You see the top 5 completely taken up by the Texas team. And let's see if maybe this is it. I don't hear a radio call for pit road. Nope, all staying out again, yet another lap here. Every time I see this happen, Jason, every time, the first group of trucks that come down always has the better advantage after the cycle is completed for whatever reason. But something's telling me right now that these 2 groups are going to have it made because of just how spaced out. Look at that, 64 white, 72. Where'd everybody else go? They're all spaced out. This is going to hurt that first set of trucks.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely going to hurt that first set of trucks, no doubt about it, because everybody's just so spread out. Now, how will this next group come into pit road here shortly? How will it affect them, and what will the outcome look like? We always talk about, oh, where's everybody going to end up? Because you never know. If you pit at the right place, right time, have the right person in front of you and the right person behind you, the right place, right time, and everything comes together, you could put yourself from the 12th, 13th position all the way up to the top 5 for the end of this race. And with 14 laps to go, now make it 13 at the line. Everybody's everywhere, still waiting on these 12 trucks up at the front of the field to make their first pit stop. And Jeremy, I mean, if you had to choose a favorite right now to win this race, I know who I'm choosing. I've said his name all night long. I'm choosing Bobby Mansell. If there's somebody you had circled here for the remainder of this night, who's it going to be?
I mean, he's got himself in a great position. He maybe just waiting for this moment, but he's not been up in the top 3 dancing too much. He's been kind of safely putting himself in that 5th, 6th position. And when they come down pit road, he's going to have to cycle ahead of his teammates to get around them, because you don't want to leave your teammates high and dry when it matters the most. You got to work as a team, especially at these super speedway events. Fixed setup, so it's not like you're sharing setup notes. It's all about working as a team, maximizing the positions at the end of the race. And when we got 11 laps to go next time around, they should be coming down, I would say, within the next 3. But we'll find out. Maybe at this point, since the first pack is kind of split up, maybe Ghost does something different and splits from them, and maybe they take the advantage on pit road.
And before we see this last round of green flag pit stops, I want to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors over here at Nerditudes. It's the official hobby shop of the Nerditudes. It is Dusty Pete's Gifts and Collectibles. It's a hobby store with a whole lot more. Based out of New York, Dusty Pete's is your one-stop shop for many things nerdy. If collecting is the game, then Dusty Pete's is the name. From figurines and action figures to collectible cards such as Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, sports cards, diecast replicas, Dusty Pete's is the place. And also, wait, comics? That's right. Dusty Pete's also sells a variety and plethora of comics for any nerd, young or old. So if you collect any nerdy things, then you should go over and take a visit and visit the official hobby shop partner of Nerditudes at dustypetes.com. 11 laps to go here, winding down here tonight on this Tuesday evening here for us nerds up here in the booth. Jason Rockfell alongside Jeremy Stanley. Dustin Longston pushing all the buttons as usual. It is the Calm in the Chaos 186 presented by Empower Red, and just as I say that all, we have our final round of green flag pit stops. Here we go, Jeremy. Last group to come down pit road. You talked about it. They were going to be pit within the next couple laps, and here they come. Now the question's going to be, where will they cycle out?
Yep. All of them working together, not splitting the pack up here. So we will see how this turns out, who gets the advantage on pit exit. That'll really kind of determine how this race is going to complete itself here. Looks like Old Dogs are going to take, the first, or actually all 5 spots still belong to them, or Lone Star rather, as they split EJ Luna, who gets a little bit of a slip up on pit exit. He's going to fall behind Donnie Honeycutt, and I think Tyler as well. Now it's going to leave just a couple of drivers left. Dave Harrington in the 66. I think he's actually the only one left. He got the lap lead last time around. He's on pit road now, so that's it. He is the last driver to take the green flag pit stop. It is wreckers or checkers from this point forward.
And let's take a look here. Let's see on the iRacing iFly track map to see where everybody is for the time being. Bobby Mantle up at the front of this field. He is going to have the lead, and look at how spread out everybody is, Jeremy, here coming off turn 4. Surely that backpack is going to catch up to this front pack. But Jeremy, I don't know, in all of my time calling sim racing, I have ever seen a finish that very well could be only 5 trucks fighting for the entire win when the rest of the field is all there. Oh, a little bit of a mishap there. Dave Harrington coming out of the pits, parks it right on the inside. I believe he spun out coming off pit road. We'll have to get a replay of that shortly. Could have had the exact same thing happen to him, just like the number 63. And yeah, just, I don't know, man. Just looks like he tried to veer a little bit, get back on to at least a groove down on the apron, and just pretty much loses it right there, Jeremy. This is the first time I've really ever seen this in the sim world where getting off pit road actually means something at Talladega.
You know, typically it's full throttle down, don't have to worry about things, but every once in a while there's a little slip up there, and it means a lot, especially being your final pit stop, and since things are spaced out, and the positions matter a lot, just like qualifying, Get the good spot in the box, you get the early exit, boom, you set yourself up for a good chance. And Lone Star minus EJ Luna knows the tail top 4. A couple of Ghost Motorsports in the mix with that, so it's 4 on 2 for the main pack on lap 63. 7 laps to go when we get to the start finish line this time around. So it'll just be these 6 trucks. Unless there's a caution, this is it. One of these 6 will be a race winner. I don't think they have enough time, but here's a second pack. You see the distance. 3 seconds plus away from the front.
Yeah, and it's going to be really difficult for them to catch currently. And EJ Luna is the one who leads this pack. And he's in risk of losing that top 5 streak, and I want to see EJ keep on doing it. Remember, he was the points leader coming into tonight over Danny White by just 18 points. My apologies. By 5 points. 5 points coming tonight. In third place is Tyler Honeycutt, who's back by 18. But Jeremy, for the time being, looks like it's going to be Lone Star versus Ghost Motorsports. And if you had to pick one, obviously, when you look at the scale leans in favor of Lone Star Racing. They have 4 out of the 6 drivers in that lead pack currently up there. And for Tyler Honeycutt and DJ Honeycutt, if you're those two, Jeremy, what can you do to try to get around these 4 trucks in front of you, knowing they're not going to help you regardless of where you go?
Yeah, no. And I expect this pack to scatter out. There's no way they're going to hang out single file here. As much as they are teammates, they also want the checker flag, and we'll see. The pack is closing in. That second pack is and might get there, to my surprise. You see the gap is 2.6. It was 3.3 last time I mentioned it, just a couple laps prior. So they are currently moving, so maybe this front pack stays a little more stable for maybe 2 laps to go. Then they make their subtle movements there. Even Ghost Motorsports recognizes this. They need to keep in check here if they're going to make a last second push, or maybe not. Maybe they wait for this backpack to get there and then maybe jump ahead if there's a movement from maybe EJ Luna here, who's leading pack number 2. If he moves up to the middle lane to go to pass, maybe Ghost blocks it, takes the run, and then goes to the outside and sweeps the rest of the Lone Star trucks. This will be very curious to see how this plays out, as we got less than 5 laps to go.
Yeah, and they were starting to make a little bit of headway. I think that having the sniff of that draft from the lap truck right behind the 15 of DJ Honeycutt, that would be the number 77 of Chris Harrington, who is currently, I believe, a few laps down for the time being. Yeah, he's about 2 to 3 laps down. So if they could just sniff his draft a little bit, I think they might be able to have a shot. But Jeremy, with 4 laps to go, it's just time is ticking away, and they are not really making that much ground. They were at first, and Donnie Honeycutt's a great pusher. From what I've seen here tonight, EJ Luna is a great driver who can receive the pushes very, very well. I mean, the stats speak for themselves here tonight. He's an excellent driver. So is Donnie Honeycutt. I just don't see them making any sort of ground. They've actually lost about 0.3 of a second, and even that back, there's 2 other packs right behind them. They're not really gaining anything. We're going to need a caution, but by the looks of it, Jeremy, for the time being, I don't really see a caution coming out, in these next 4 laps, just because everybody's spread out.
And I saw that, and I was like, okay, they're making big headway, like you said, and then they stalled. They literally just, for whatever reason, have stalled. So, but your pick, the 89 Bobby Mantle, look where he's at after that pit cycle and everything. 3 laps to go, leading this race. Has a great chance, as long as his teammates stay behind him, they're going to get Bobby Mantle his first win of the season. Let's see what happens here. Do they stay behind him? Do they shuffle around? Is, I think, 2.6. The second pack really wants to make moves. They got the 0.3 of a second back, just not enough time. I think at this point they're out unless there's a caution. In my book, here we go. We got just over 5 miles left in this thing. Does Mark Sherwood, Stephen Hayes, even Dustin, who has been making great moves early in this race, does he make a last second charge and maybe take this win?
And we're going to have to find out and see this time by the line. 2 laps remaining here up on the board for the Calm and the Chaos 186 presented by Empower Ed. And it is getting down to the nitty gritty. Only a handful of miles to go. And for Bobby Mantle, Jeremy, if he could bring this home, he was up 6 spots in the points after last week, and he continues to climb throughout the standings. Surely this would look good on his resume for the remainder of the season.
It would look fantastic on the resume for the inaugural OTSS Select Series here to get a win in the only 12 race schedule, as you mentioned early on in this broadcast. And here we go off of turn 4. Still no movement to be found in this top 6 or 7. White flag is going to be 1 to go. Bobby Mantle, 2.6 miles left in this thing. And the teammates look very content at the moment.
White flag is out. 1 lap to go here as they go through turns 1 and 2. 2.66 miles remaining here from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. 4 Lone Star Racing drivers against 2 Ghost Motorsport drivers. Here comes the first move. Tyler Honeycutt dips out to the outside lane with help from DJ Honeycutt. They get to the right side of Dustin Franklin. In fact, they're making a little bit of headway. Will Mark Sherwood go up to block them, coming through 3 and 4 for the final time? Bobby Mantle seems content out front, but will his teammates behind him be? No, they're not. Mark Sherwood tries to block. They're going to put him 3 wide. They're going to be almost 4 wide across the stripe this time by. Nobody's going to challenge him. Bobby Mantle beats everybody at Talladega. What an exciting finish all the way to the line. And boy, oh boy, Jeremy, I really thought that Tyler Honeycutt was going to get there, but once the teammates started blocking for Bobby Mantle, it was pretty much closed the book, and it was all said and done here tonight at Talladega.
It's the teamwork I love to see. They blocked the potential chance of Ghost Motorsports taking the top position from Lone Star. Mark Sherwood, excellent move to shuffle him out, giving Mantle the solid win and bringing the 13 P2. Tyler Honeycutt does ruin the Lone Star top 3 trilogy. They're going to be on 3rd place on the scoring pylon, and we will be talking to Bobby, Steven, and Tyler in just a short bit. But your pick, Jason, the 89, he's going to roll down the front stretch here, do a burnout for his victory here tonight. And here we go, burning off early in the grass. Congratulations, Bobby Mantle.
Yeah, Bobby Mantle really earned this one tonight, obviously, with the help of his Lone Star Racing teammates. And Ghost Motorsports tried everything they could. They still finished inside the top 5, but at the end of the night, it was all Lone Star Racing who was able to get it done. And Bobby Mantle burns it down in the number 89 Can-Am Silverado. What a fantastic finish, obviously, for these drivers here. For Lone Star, they've got to be thrilled, and we're going to talk to them here in the booth probably shortly here. 2 Lone Star drivers, 1 Ghost Motorsports drivers. But first off, before we go and talk to our podium finishers, let's take a look here at the race results from tonight. First up on the board, it's going to be Bobby Mantle alongside Stephen Hayes, then Tyler Honeycutt, Dustin Franklin. DJ Honeycutt rounds out the top 5. Mark Sherwood there in the 6th spot. Danny White still is able to extend that top 10 gap. He'll come home in the 7th spot. Donnie Honeycutt there in 8th. Jonathan Gaston comes home 9th, and the top 5 streak is going to have to come to an end, but still extends that top 10 streak. EJ Luna, Jeremy, rounds out the top 10.
Everybody else on back. Bradley Miner, P11. Polly Torrance in 12th. Abram Ghost in mid-pack there in 13th. Jonathan Hammond, 14th. Alex Zirkle in truck 8 and 15th. John Border, 16th. And to round out the top 20 is Alejandro Khan, Curtis Noble, Jared Hammond, and Farrell Robbins. 21st on back is Keith Vaughn, Bradley Berry, Stephen Abbasid, Dave Harrington, Christopher Harrington, and Corey Jones, who brought out the lone caution here this evening, finishes out the 26th truck lineup at Talladega.
Yeah, you see everybody kind of really clean race so far. We'll talk about that briefly in the post-race. But first, yeah, and our hard charger of the night goes to Tyler Honeycutt. Look at him, plus 16 positions. And if I'm correct, I believe that very well might just give him the Empowered Calm in the Chaos award here tonight, I believe. But we are awaiting confirmation. Not a lot of incidents here tonight, which was very surprising. Again, we'll talk about that post-race for sure. And I know that we're going to be going over to the booth here shortly with us to talk to our drivers here. And it was definitely an interesting race, to say the least. And I mean, Jeremy, just in general, I'm very surprised that we were able to get such a clean race. And I'm sure some of these drivers, though, are really happy. I know they talked about it last week with in the poster, or rather the drivers meeting today, about how they were very pleased with the racing last week. But without further ado, let's bring in our third place driver, Mr. Tyler Honeycutt, in the 45 machine. Tyler, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, Tyler, talk about it a little bit. I know you were the Ghost Motorsports driver to finish up on the podium, man, right there at the end. I knew it was going to be a little tough for you guys there at the end, being 2v3 or 4 or something like that, man. Talk about, obviously, what was your game plan going through your head those last few laps to try to get around them? Is there anything differently you could have done?
My part, no. I think we had a good chance at going there. DJ just kind of abandoned me on the front stretch. He stayed behind Mark a little bit. I think if he would have just stayed up on me when I went to their outside, it would have been pretty close because I had good momentum and I swung out a little bit to not let them side draft. So I think if he would have just stuck with me, I would have had a good chance of winning it. But nonetheless, I'm ecstatic with the third place finish out of Super Speedway. I finished ahead of the guys that are ahead of me in points, so maybe gained a couple points on them. So yeah, all in all, it was a really good race. Had 0 incidents. I don't know how many people can say that after a Super Speedway race. So I mean, that was pretty clean for all the drivers.
Yeah, tough task to walk out with 0 incidents, man. Congratulations on a good, solid top 3. That pit stop really shook everything up. It was a huge pack. It was all team-oriented. The top 10 was only 2 teams, and then you guys are right there waiting. And then the pit stops happened, and then your team got split up. A couple other teams did. Old Dogs did. It's just, what do you think on pit road caused all the 5 truck packs essentially here after that?
So like I know my dad and Bradley, they could not get on the gas whatsoever off pit road. Like it was very squirrely. Me and DJ didn't have that much of a problem, so I guess we just got lucky. But so we were able to stick with like I think it was Bobby, Steven, and 74, I believe. We had a pretty good pit stop. So I'm guessing with the other guys that like Old Dogs, I think they pitted before us. They probably just couldn't get on the gas as much off exit because like the tires were very sketchy after a pit stop. And then I also think they pitted pretty early. I think us staying out that last little bit with the Lone Star like helped us gain a gap on them before the pit stops. So yeah, I think it was just a mixture of gaining that gap and then tires being really hard to push it on exit of pit road.
And Tyler, obviously, to conclude your night, man, anybody you want to thank here before we send you off with that third place finish here tonight from Talladega?
Yes, sir. Thank you to you guys. What are y'all? The All-Star team? Is that what you call yourself, or whatever? Y'all guys, you guys are you guys are pretty freaking cool. I like going back and watching, and what you've done for our league here this season is nothing short of phenomenal. So I appreciate you guys wholeheartedly. You bring a little jazz to something that we're building. So it's a lot of fun to go back and watch. Shout out to all the drivers. Probably one of the cleanest Talladega races I've been a part of. I know we had that one caution with the money shift off pit road, but pretty clean racing, pretty hard racing as well. A little bit of fuel saving in the books. Shout out to my team, Ghost Motorsports. We worked well together all night. Me and DJ got some good finishes. I think my dad and Bradley had a good finish too. But shout out to our sponsor, Empower Ed Research Institute. Can't thank them enough for what they've done for us this season. And shout out to whoever won that award. I think DJ is getting the results for you guys, but that's all I got.
All right, Tyler, man, good job tonight. Great performance from that number 15, or rather 45 machine. And we'll see you next week at IRP.
Appreciate you, buddy. Y'all have a good one.
That's Tyler Honeycutt, driver, the number 45, coming home P3 tonight. And next up on our board here tonight, that Whataburger machine there on your screen, that number 13 machine. Stephen Hayes, you got a copy, my friend.
What is up, my guy?
What is up, my guy? Indeed, Stephen, man, oh man, you and Bobby Mansell could not stay away from one another. And when you both were, you guys were like two teenagers, like in love, like Romeo and Juliet, could not get away from one another. No matter what the race threw at you, you guys found each other. We're drafting a lot tonight, man. Run us through your night. Obviously, coming home P2 tonight.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. Me and Bobby were definitely in love tonight, and I think that worked out pretty good for us. You know, qualifying first and second, finishing first and second was pretty neat. But it was just a fun night. I mean, good racing. We had one caution, but it was, you know, a little pit road accident. On track, everything was good. I mean, this was a great race. It was hard to get a strategy. I mean, best thing we had was just run it till it's empty and, you know, do what you can with that. But, you know, we had that caution come out that kind of moved things around, but we worked with it and we did pretty good there. We had 4 Lone Star cars up front, so I was pretty happy with our performance tonight.
Yeah, and before the green flag pit stops, this is a fixed setup league, and you had all 5 of your teammates nose to tail on the outside. You had Old Dogs, all 5 teammates nose to tail on the inside. How did you guys get the entire team to be bundled up there after 40 plus laps of racing here at Talladega with only one caution? To me, I thought that was kind of crazy to have a fixed setup race where all the teams are literally next to each other in the field. How did you guys strategize that and make it so efficient to get all you guys up front?
It's just strategy. I mean, you know, you get people that jump out of line, people that jump in line, and being patient, really. And because if you try switching lanes, you'll get a couple more people to jump in line and screw everything up. But you just stay patient and you make moves, and you know, eventually you get a group of guys that jump out to try to gain spots, but you just stick with your team and you pull past them. After a while, it was pretty easy for us to get connected there at the end of that 40 lap or lap 40 or whenever it was. It was pretty easy to get together, to be honest with you, even though we're all fixed.
And Steven, congratulations, man, on P2 tonight. Before we let you go, anybody want to shout out here tonight for that P2 effort here at Talladega?
Hell yeah, the Lone Star boys. We did a hell of a good job tonight. EJ, Bobby, Dustin, and Mark. We all showed up and showed out. Had a bunch of fun with them. Kim, at home watching this. Love you, baby. And thank you guys up in the broadcast booth.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Hayes. We'll see you next week at IRP, buddy.
All right, see y'all.
Stephen Hayes in the number 13 machine for Lone Star Racing coming home P2. But now it's time to go to Victory Lane, where we're going to meet our race winner here tonight, who was my pick from the start pretty much all the way until the very end. I believed in him, and surely enough, he would have won me a significant amount of money if I probably would have bet my whole life savings on him. Mr. Bobby Mansell, driver the number 89 machine, man. Welcome to Victory Lane. Congratulations on your first win of the season.
Thank you. I'm glad I done you proud there, Jason.
I definitely appreciate it, man. I wish that DraftKings had the spread for me here tonight. It would have been awesome to see, man. But I just talked to Steve, and me and Jeremy did, and I said that you guys were like Romeo and Juliet tonight. The field separated you at one point after that first caution. You guys found each other, and you guys were able to work together. Talk about that relationship with Stephen Hayes that you guys had tonight that just made you guys so strong in the draft that was able to propel you to victory tonight.
I don't know. We just good communication between the team, knowing when to make the moves in the upper lower lanes, and I think just good chemistry between me and Steven. We found each other in this life, and buddy, I'll find you again in the next life.
There you go, man. Congratulations. P1 here tonight. Phenomenal job from the team. I was just telling Steven, too, it's impressive to see all 5 of you guys just nose to tail, communicating very well. That's kind of cool. That was a very, very clean race, so congrats to the league in general for that. And yeah, how did you guys strategize? Steven said there's just good communication. Was there any like prior talks in the garage before the race, you know, on how to get all 5 trucks together late in the run?
Well, right off the bat, we figured we would go with whichever truck could go the farthest, or who was going to run the fuel the furthest. That was going to be when we'd all come in. We'd go on them, and we just worked together and talked throughout the race and just slowly put the pieces of the puzzle together until all 5 of us were in a line, and it just worked out really well.
And Bobby Mantle, man, race winner tonight here from Talladega. Before we let you go to celebrate with your team, anybody you want to shout out and thank here before we send you off here on this Tuesday evening?
Got to shout out the Nerditudes. Love watching you guys put on a fantastic broadcast. Shout out the guys here at OTSS showing up to race. Racing's been phenomenal lately. Let's keep it up. Appreciate the admins that have put in the work to get things rolling here, clean it all up, and put on a good show. And I got to thank our sponsor, Empower Ed. Thank them for the award tonight. I'm not sure who won it, but I think we'll have that announced shortly. And I guess thank you to all the fans that tuned in to watch.
All right, Mr. Bobby Mantle, congratulations, man. We'll see you next week from IRP.
Thanks.
Bobby Mantle, driver the number 89, getting pushed to victory from his teammate Stephen Hayes tonight from Lone Star Racing. And before we talk about post-race, we obviously have to announce the good elephant in the room. Tonight's Calm in the Chaos Award presented by Empower Ed is going to be Dustin Franklin in the number 74 machine. Congratulations, Dustin, on that $25 cash prize being awarded. And I guess it's only fitting since, Jeremy, we have Dustin Longston in the booth. So I guess that Dustin had to win an award at some point. Since Dustin doesn't get enough love, I feel like here, even though, all jokes aside, we always give him enough love. But, man, congratulations, Dustin Franklin, by the way. He gained 13 positions from where he was. I really thought it was going to be Tyler Honeycutt who won, but I guess at some point Tyler got a 1X or 2X or something like that. But, man, Dustin Franklin, great job tonight, man. It's $25 in your pocket. Go get yourself a 12-pack of Miller Lite or something, man. I don't know, whatever you want to do with that $25 because you surely deserved it, especially coming home clean at Talladega. And Jeremy, that leads us in, obviously, to a little bit of post-race talk, man. That race was probably – I've seen clean Talladega races before, but I don't know if I've ever seen a truck race fixed end up looking like an ARCA Series finish at the end there, man. Very shocked tonight by that.
That's actually a very good description of the finish. An ARCA-style event where you got, like, the big money teams up front, but in this case it was just – who got off pit road the best. And you heard Tyler rather, talk about getting off pit road. It was sketchy for some, and not many people could throttle up and go over the bumps or whatever the cold tires were having, and it caused that separation. So it was kind of weird to see it, and we almost saw a couple packs join together, but all in all, very clean. We knew the money was up for grabs for the fewest incident points, so that played into a factor for it. So Empower Ed, doing great things with the league and with the drivers, and it helped out tonight's product here on track. Talladega being a phenomenal race for race number 5 of 12 of the season. And the points lead, EJ Luna came into this thing 5 up over Danny White. Danny White beats EJ Luna by 4 positions. So, 5 races in, these guys are like 1 point margin between the two. It's going to be fun to watch the back half of the season as EJ versus Danny continues to process.
And it's definitely going to be a good one for sure. And before we go, remember, I believe this Thursday we have the dual races for the Smoky Mountain Sim Racing Series. Brand new league here on Nerditudes. They'll be having their dual races this Thursday night coming up. And then their season will kick off, I believe, next week. So we have two series going on. So Tuesdays, you've been catching us for Tuesdays the last few weeks. And if you like what you see, come join us on Thursdays because it's going to be really fun. I know after next week, I'll be stepping away from Tuesdays with you guys. I got my last semester of college broadcasting with Chris Bomer and everybody over there at Brookdale Esports. And obviously joining you guys on the Thursday show should be really fun. Looking forward to it, obviously. But yeah, just like Jeremy said, very clean race here tonight from Talladega. Before we go, want to shout out everybody from the OTSS Select Series, Empower Ed, everybody who helped put on this show. Jeremy, thank you for obviously joining as always and being the wingman for me or my Romeo or Juliet or whatever in a way like Stephen Hayes and Bobby Mantle had with themselves here tonight, and Dustin Longston. Dustin Longston always pushing the buttons for us obviously week in and week out. That's going to do it for us here on Nerditudes for Nerd TV. For everybody here that was involved with the broadcast here tonight, we'll see you next week from IRP, and we'll catch you this Thursday for the dual races for the Smoky Mountain Sim Racing Series. And we'll see you next time, obviously, on Thursday. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your week. Remember to always get your nerd on. We'll see you next week. And also this Thursday, too. Have a good one.
Touchscreen and louder to the range. Fuel buttons and the glow of the pixel blaze. The rubber moves roll with a fist clenched tight. Your TV lights up the endless night. Fight to fight, we live the speed. No TV feeds our endless need. Heartbeats pound and engines climb. Best broadcast under the virtual sky. Turn the wheel, feel the breakneck roll. Sim racer staring through the thunder soul. Gear shifts crack like a lightning storm. Digital warriors breaking the norm. Turn the wheel, feel the breakneck roll. Sim racer staring through the thunder soul. Gear shifts crack like a lightning storm. Digital warriors breaking the norm. Fight to fight, we live the speed. No TV feeds our endless need. Heartbeats pounding, engines cry. Best broadcast under the virtual sky. Through each hairpin, a battle unfolds. Victory forged in the fire of the bold. Neon dreams fuel the tracks we tear. Nerd TV shows us who dares to care. Fight to fight, we live the speed. No TV feeds our endless need. Heartbeats pounding, engines cry. Best broadcast under the virtual sky. Touchscreen and louder to the range. Fuel buttons and the glow of the pixel blaze. The rubber moves roll with a fist clenched tight. Your TV lights up the endless night. Fight to fight, we live the speed. No TV feeds our endless need. Heartbeats pounding, engines cry. Best broadcast under the virtual sky. Turn the wheel, feel the breakneck roll. Sim racer staring through the thunder soul. Gear shifts crack like a lightning storm. Digital warriors breaking the norm. Turn the wheel, feel the breakneck roll. Sim racer staring through the thunder soul.